A call comes in, which of course there are multiple means by which a work order can get generated in here. So some organizations are very heavy on things like email integrations to automatically create work orders. Some are really keen on third-party integrations, whether it's like a Service Channel or ServiceNow or some of these enterprise ticketing systems that these big organizations are always asking to connect with. Whereby others are just picking up the phones and just typing in the detail to get a work order in. So this solution provides what must be something like 10 or more ways of how work orders can find their way in, up to and including customer portals where customers can log their own requests, which is becoming more and more popular these days as just a further method by which you can get closer to your customers. Okay, so assuming that we've gone and created a work order, what I'd like to do now is start to introduce some of the various ways that we can schedule resources in this product. Now, realizing that every organization has a different workforce size out there, we have tools like what we call our resource calendar, which is all again based in the browser. I chose to undock mine so I can kind of move it around here on the screen. And I can search by office, by territory. I can look up by job role to look up just the types of resources I'm looking for. We can even go into things like skill groups. So I might say for this particular call, I'm ripping out a compressor, therefore I'm looking for someone that can do service-related work. They're a technician, maybe if relevant, they can work in a confined space, and they can do the typical brazing requirements to get us that call complete. I can use that as my means to then filter just the resources I want to look at, right? That can be very important, especially for larger organizations. And this again is just your simplified drag and drop tool where we can drag calls from the bottom up to the board. And this board ultimately becomes very colorful across the work week as these colors change based on the status of the call. So a dispatcher very quickly can see, just using the color coding, who's on site, who's traveling, which calls are complete, which calls are on hold. These boards will certainly get very, very colorful as the work week progresses. And of course, just in the spirit of flexibility, you can always flip it to be more of a vertical calendar for those that prefer this sort of methodology as well. Okay, very flexible product. One thing you might be thinking is, gee, this is a great tool for scheduling, but the one thing it doesn't show is this. The one thing it doesn't show is anything involving geography. So if you ever have the opportunity to, or the interest rather, in being able to visualize where calls are taking place, this also becomes a simple tool to pop open multiple jobs that need to be scheduled, or if I have shorter duration calls or I need to walk some job to generate a quote or something along those lines. Very simple to use this as a GPS tool to visualize where technicians are based on their mobile device GPS. And this also works as a very suitable tool to help me decide who to schedule based on geography. So if I see I've got a roughly 90-minute call down here between these two resources, I'm starting with Jason because he's clearly my closest resource. In fact, some organizations might choose to optimize the trip to let Google tell you what the fastest order of events might be. So it's even got some of that basic routing and optimization there, just to, again, further make that as simple as possible.